Good afternoon, folks. Today I'm going to show you how to make a super easy and super tasty cold and flu tonic for these upcoming cold winter months, and that is fire cider. Fire cider is a traditional folk remedy that was highly popularized by the herbalist Rosemary Gladstar. It uses a combination of herbs, fruits, and vegetables that have various healthy properties, and they are going to be infused in apple cider vinegar for about 30 days. And the resulting infused vinegar will be used by the spoonful as a tonic for certain ailments such as colds, flus, digestive issues, or just general healthful tonics. Rosemary Gladstar has key ingredients in her original book for fire cider, which are going to be garlic, onion, horseradish, ginger, cayenne, honey, and apple cider vinegar. But there are endless things that you can put into your fire cider to make it your own. For example, I could not find organic horseradish in any of the local markets that I shop at, and I didn't want to use canned horseradish or a non-organic version for this vinegar infusion, so I just didn't include it in my fire cider. I also added a few types of herbs that I have here either growing in my garden or in my shelf that have certain beneficial properties that I would like. So how you make your fire cider is completely up to you, whether you want to do it with foods that are in season, foods you have on hand, foods that you can get organically, or you just want to use things that you know will be beneficial for your specific season. So as a traditional folk remedy, fire cider is going to be taken either in small amounts or larger amounts diluted in water. You don't really want to drink apple cider vinegar straight in large amounts. It can be damaging to the digestive system. But in general, the healthful properties of fire cider, as long as some of these core ingredients are included, are going to be wonderfully antibacterial, antiviral, a digestive aid, a circulatory aid, a decongestant, especially if you add a whole lot of cayenne to it so it's spicy, and it's obviously an immune booster. And the great thing about it is that you don't just have to take it by the spoonful, especially if you don't want to add honey to it. Now you can add honey after the whole thing sits for 30 days and infuses, which I will go over later. You can add honey to it to sweeten it up a bit, but you don't just have to take it as a liquid medicine. You can use it as a salad dressing, add some oil to it, make a lovely salad dressing. You can add it to soups and stews or any sort of other dish you want to make. It is extremely versatile. So it is not just some concoction that you're gonna try and shove down your kids' throats and they're gonna hate you for it. You can use it in a plethora of ways and it will still have the same beneficial properties. So this is obviously a completed jar of fire cider, but I've got ingredients lined up and I'm going to go over all of the ingredients that I use and why, due to their beneficial properties. And then I will show you how I put together my fire cider jar. The herbs and plant materials that I'm using in my fire cider today are going to be rosemary, cinnamon, star anise, garlic, red onion, ginger and turmeric, orange, lemon, and various hot peppers from the garden. About half of these items came directly from my garden, such as the rosemary, the garlic, the red onion, and the hot peppers. Unfortunately, I can't grow citrus in my area. I have grown ginger before, but I didn't do it this year, and I didn't grow the turmeric. But all of the items here that I'm using are organic, whether it came from my garden or from the organic market that I bought it from today. You do not have to use things that come out of your garden, especially if you don't have a garden. It is perfectly fine to shop at the store if you don't even grow a garden or you just have limited amounts of things coming out of your garden right now. It's okay. But what I do highly recommend is that you at least buy organic. What we are making today is an infusion. We are going to infuse all of these natural ingredients into apple cider vinegar for approximately a month. So if you have pesticide-laden fruit and vegetables that you are soaking in vinegar, not that that's necessarily a bad thing, it's not going to kill you or anything like that. I would just recommend that you have the cleanest food possible that's going to be soaking in something for a very long time, just so you're not drinking that something afterwards. I will be using this quart jar for my fire cider today. A wide mouth jar is going to be a little bit easier to get your ingredients in and out of, depending on how finely you chop them. I do recommend that you expose as much of the vegetable or herb surface area to the vinegar as possible so that it can draw out the beneficial ingredients. But I also like to make my fire cider pretty, so I like to cut my lemons and oranges into slices so you can see them on the side. It doesn't really matter how you do it, but a wide mouth is going to be easier to get the ingredients both in there and out of there when we are done infusing the apple cider vinegar. I am going to wash these vegetables up and start chopping them, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to tell you guys a little about all these ingredients and their health benefits. The pepper most traditionally used in fire cider is going to be cayenne, which I don't grow and I don't have on hand, although I can purchase it if I wanted to. Really what we're after is the ingredient in the pepper. The main hot compound is going to be capsaicin. Now what capsaicin does is it assists digestion by stimulating the flow of saliva and stomach secretions. It's considered warming, it's an emetic, a digestive aid, and an anti-inflammatory. So I have some of the hottest peppers that I grow right here, which are going to be the jalafuegos, the Thai hot chili peppers, and sugar rush peach. Mainly what you want is that capsaicin from very hot peppers to go in this mixture. The capsaicin in peppers allows the dilation of blood vessels, which cools the blood and stimulates perspiration. And it's considered a decongestant and an expectorant. If you've ever eaten really hot peppers, your nose starts running, you start sweating, it can help relieve a stuffy nose. Citrus fruits aren't in the original traditional recipe for fire cider, but I add them for several reasons. First and foremost, they look beautiful when you add them to the jar of fire cider, and I like pretty things. But also, citrus fruits have enormous amounts of vitamin C. And everyone knows that vitamin C is an immune booster, is super good for your health, and is great to take if you feel a cold or flu coming on, or if you already have one. If you've ever been in the store and seen those emergency packets. Yeah, so that's exactly what you're adding. Citrus fruits are an immune booster. They aid in wound healing and have antioxidant properties, which protect your cells and connective tissues from free radicals. And they taste great. They add a little tangy bit of something to your fire cider recipe. Turmeric root is amazingly beneficial as an anti-inflammatory. Its main active compound that's beneficial to health is going to be curcumin, and it's a polyphenol that has strong anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, antibacterial, and antifungal properties. One important thing to note about turmeric, though, is that curcumin, the active component in it, is not well absorbed by the body. This is best mitigated by the addition of black pepper into whatever recipe you're using turmeric in. So if you decide to use a bunch of turmeric in your fire cider, you want to be sure to add any kind of black pepper, whether that be whole peppercorns or just table pepper, so that the piperine in the pepper can help the curcumin in the turmeric be absorbed better in the body. Ginger root is one of the most widely available and widely used herbal remedies on the planet. It is an antiemetic, an anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, antiviral, and numerous others. One of the most common ways it's used is for quelling stomach queasiness and nausea, which is the antiemetic properties. It's useful in also preventing nausea and vomiting, and controlled clinical studies have found ginger to be more effective in relieving nausea than Dramamine. Ginger also stimulates blood circulation, prevents the production of cytokines, which are chemicals in the body that create long-term tendency towards inflammation, and extracts of ginger have been known to kill parasites and cold viruses. Garlic has antibacterial, antiviral, and antifungal activities. There are hundreds of scientific studies supporting the use of garlic in lowering cholesterol levels and blood sugar, and is often thought to help prevent heart attack, stroke, and treat infections. It has been shown to increase the number of macrophages in the body, which are basically just germ-eating cells, and it inhibits the growth of the yeast organism Candida. So it's been shown to have a huge benefit for people with recurrent yeast infections. Now, I do want to note that raw garlic can be irritating on the stomach, even though it helps in ulcers and infections of the stomach. If you have a sensitive stomach, I would be wary of just how much raw garlic you use in this recipe. Onion comes from the same family as garlic and therefore has many of the same properties as garlic does, as well as the main chemical compound in garlic, which is allicin. But onion also has a very large amount of quercetin. And quercetin is known for its antioxidant activity in radical scavenging and anti-allergic properties. You may have seen quercetin tablets in your local health food store. Onion is an excellent stimulant and an expectorant, and its juice is a disinfectant. While we're here, I'll talk about a few of the herbs that I use. The first one is going to be cinnamon, which is a very well-known and widely used cooking, but also herbal remedy. Its most important use is in the relief of intestinal gas, and it's very effective in quelling stomach upset. It also is an anti-inflammatory and works by blocking the creation of the chemicals that cause inflammation in the body. Rosemary is a potent antioxidant, an antiseptic, and an antispasmodic. It contains camphor, which increases blood supply to the skin, and because of this, using rosemary topically, like in a bath or in a salve, can help to reduce pain in muscles and joints. And the final herb I used is a dried herb called star anise. It doesn't have too much notable research on its medical benefits. It is used for immune support and is traditionally used for digestive support. It can help quell an uneasy stomach, but mainly it's got a nice sweet licorice flavor and it's very pretty, so I like including it in the top of my jar. Once you have your completed jar filled to the brim with all of these amazing healthy ingredients, you're going to want to add apple cider vinegar to the entire jar until all of the herbs, fruits, and vegetables are covered up. Apple cider vinegar is going to be the most beneficial vinegar you can use, in my opinion, but it does have super beneficial probiotics for gut health. In a pinch, you can use white vinegar. That will absolutely be fine enough to bring out the beneficial properties of these herbs and plants. But you get the added benefit of probiotic health with raw apple cider vinegar. This is Bragg's, although there are different companies you can buy from. If you do buy apple cider vinegar, it's best. What are you doing? You're interrupting my video. Okay, you won't get. Although it is best to get vinegar with the mother. I'm not sure this is going to be enough to fill this jar. We'll see. I do have a giant gallon-sized jar of vinegar in my closet that I can use. But let's see if this fills this quart jar with all this fruit in it. It might. This might work. It's like almost perfect. I'm gonna push this down a little. You're also gonna wanna use your knife or whatever utensil you have to just make sure there's no air bubbles. You want all of your plant material exposed to the vinegar without any air. Wow, that was nearly perfect. Now while this infuses in the vinegar, you want to keep it in a cool, dry, dark place for about a month. So I'm going to keep this in my closet where I usually keep all of the jars that I'm fermenting vegetables with. And just like fermenting vegetables, which I have a previous video on if you haven't seen it, I'm gonna be using a plastic lid. Now the vinegar, the acidity in the vinegar and the acidity in lactic acid when you're doing lacto fermentation can eat away at the metal on the mason jar lids. If you don't have these, that's totally fine. You can just get a piece of parchment paper, put it over your jar lid, and then screw this on. It's just gonna help protect it a little bit from the acidity if the jar gets jostled, etc., etc. But I've invested, they're super cheap on Amazon. You can get like an 8-pack of either wide mouth or regular mouth lids, and they're plastic. It's great. I like these ones. So that's what I'm gonna use, and this will go in my closet for about 30 days to let all of these herbs and fruits and veggies completely soak into this vinegar. And once the soaking in process is done, you're going to strain out all of the plant material with a cheesecloth, and you'll be left with, hopefully, in my case, because I used a ton of hot peppers, a spicy vinegar, tangy tonic that you can take if you feel a cold or flu coming on, or you just want a little pep in your step, warm up your body during the cool winter months. And that's it. Super simple, super easy, and very accessible to anyone, even if you don't have a garden. I'm excited. Thank you guys for joining me today, and I will catch you on the next one.